Students, in lesson point 2, we will be working on place value of whole numbers, and our essential question for this lesson is, how do you read, write, and represent whole numbers through 100 millions? So today the focus of our class is going to be understanding the different representational methods that we can use for whole numbers. So the reason why we start with the essential question is that's what we want to know or have learned by the end of the lesson. So let's start with the unlock the problem real world. The diameter of the sun is 1,392,000 kilometers. To understand this distance, you need to understand the place value of each digit in 1,392,000. The place value chart contains periods. In numbers, a period is a group of 3 digits separated by commas in a multi-digit number. The millions period is left of the thousands period. 1 million is 1,000 thousands and is written as 1 million. So we look here at our place value chart and we say that there is the ones period, the thousands period, and the millions period. And within each period we see that there is a ones, tens, and hundreds column. So we're going to start down here where it says the place value of the one digit in 1,392,000 is in the value 1 we see is in the ones place of the millions period. So a way that we represent that is 1 times 1 million, and you can see that it's right underneath there. So the factor 1 times the second factor of 1 million equals the product of 1 million. So in standard form, we would write it simply as it looks numerically. In word form, we would write 1,300,000, because it's in the hundreds place, 92,000, because that is the place value which tells us the name. The expanded form, which is the more difficult form, what we would do is we use the last column. So if we look here where Miss G's putting the stars between, this is the expanded form. So it's kind of, I'm going to actually outline it in green so it can really pop for everybody. So this is the expanded form, the one that is highlighted in green. So what we use is we use parentheses to signify the product, where the product lies for that one place value. So here we have parentheses 1 times 1 million and parentheses plus parentheses 3 times 100,000 and parentheses plus parentheses 9 times 10,000 and parentheses plus 2 times 1,000 also in parentheses. So when we get into class, we're going to spend a little bit more time with this math chalk, but if you want to look at it now, you can. So what we're going to do is we're going to try this. We're going to use place value to read and write the numbers. So the standard form of this number, we're actually going to pop it into our place value chart, which will help us a little bit more with understanding how to read it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to write this number in my place value chart. So what you'll see, students, is that I wrote my number 582,030 in the place value chart. It just makes it easier for me to read in that manner. So the standard form is when we write it in numbers, and then our word form, we write it after we look at our place value chart, because if we plugged it in our place value chart, we understand the standard form, it's easier to read the word form. So this is 582, and we know that is 1,000. And then lastly, it is 30. And then lastly, we have expanded form. So because the 5 is in the 100,000 place, we do 5 times 100,000. So the next place we have is the 8. The first factor would be 8 times 10,000, because when you multiply those together you would get 80,000, which is the place value of that next digit. Next we have 2, so that's why we have the first factor is 2 times 1,000, which would give us the place value of 2,000. Next we have 0, So we don't need to actually report anything for that. After that, we have 3, and for that what we would report is 3, which is the digit, and then the place value of that, which is the tens place, because 3 times 10 would give us a place value of 30. So we can solve this problem. The average distance from Jupiter to the Sun is 483,600,000 miles. Now it says to write that number as it shows the distance in miles. So I'm going to underline 483 million. 483 million. So I know that I'm going to have 3 more digits here and 3 more digits here, because this period here is actually the millions period. And then this period here is going to be the thousands period. And the last period that we have over here is going to be the ones period. So next, I'm going to go on to the next, which was 600,000 miles. So I'm going to write down 600. And then we know that there is no digit other than 0 in the ones period, because we have 600,000. Now we're going to continue exploring place value patterns, and we're going to look at Canada's land area. So Canada's land area is about 4 million square miles. Iceland has a land area of about 40,000 square miles. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare the two areas. So in example 1, we're going to use a place value chart. So this is one of the strategies that we want to be comfortable with using by the end of this lesson today. So what we're going to do is that we're going to plug in those 2 different numbers into our actual place value mat. So we have 4 million, and then we have the other one, which is representative of Iceland, which is 40,000. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use a place value mat to chart to check the 2. So it says step 2, count the number of whole number place value positions. So let's count 40,000s. 40,000 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, sorry, that is 4 million has 7, and 40,000 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means that 4 million has exactly 2 more whole number place values than 40,000. So, boys and girls, think 2 more places is like 10 times 10, or 100. So 4 million is 100 times as much as 40,000. And if we go back to our place value chart, what we know is that each of these place values, as we gain 1, we're gaining times 10. So that would make sense, because 10 times 10, as those 2 factors multiply together, would give you the product of 100. So Canada's estimated land area is 100 times as much as Iceland's estimated land area. Now, boys and girls, we're going to go on to example 2, where you can use place value patterns to rename a number. So it's really important that you feel comfortable with both strategies, because you will be asked to do both strategies on your homework. So what we're going to do is we're going to rename 40,000 using other place value patterns. So 4 value there is 4 10,000s, or 4 times 10,000, because that's the place value of the 4. Next, we're going to examine the 40. Now, the value there, boys and girls, is actually 40,000, because we're considering the thousands place and the 10,000s place. So what we do is we would represent that by 40, the first factor, which is highlighted in blue, and our first factor here, times the second factor, which is 1,000. which is named here in word form. Now lastly, we're going to look at the first 3 digits there, which is now going to be considered to be 400. And now because we're going to that third place here, we're actually considering this to be 400 hundredths. So our first factor is going to be 400, and then our second factor is going to be the words that we see there, which is 100. So we see, boys and girls, regardless of the 3 different ways, we're still going to end with 40,000 as our number and how we renamed it.